Things to keep in mind about someone with narcolepsy. Um, they're really sleepy, and if you see them not doing a whole lot, prime example is, I guess, watching a video or a movie. That doesn't mean they're awake enough to do tasks. It's really hard to explain, but it's like we can't we can't change the amount of sleepiness we're experiencing, and sometimes we need to stay awake because we can't nap all the time, because that can make it worse. So yeah, sometimes it will look like when we're not doing anything at all, and it might seem that we're awake enough that we could do things, but it's like walking in quicksand. A simple task might just be to get up and make a meal. That is extremely difficult because our brains aren't working properly. I know for me, when I am that sleepy, doing something like making a meal can take me like 30-45 minutes to do something that would only take 5 minutes. So a lot of times we deal with guilt for trying to stay awake but not being able to do a whole lot, and how that looks to people and the sort of judgments we might get. I struggle with this a lot of times. If I'm sleepy, I need to stay awake, but I'm around people, I won't do anything at all because there's so much guilt there with thinking, well, he's on his phone or he's watching a video, because that's all I can really do. I can't really make decisions or complete tasks, but I can do that, and that can be comforting. But I have this happen sometimes where if I am doing that, people will assume I'm awake enough to have a really in-depth conversation, or they'll look at me puzzled thinking, well, he's not doing anything. He could be doing this, 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 this. Well, the truth is I can't. Some other things to keep in mind about someone with narcolepsy is we are constantly worried about how other people think about us, because we can't show what's happening internally. So we rely on people to trust what we're saying. If we say we are too sleepy to do something, we mean it, and we experience a lot of guilt about that, and a lot of frustration and disappointment. I know for me, I really struggle with that because I was raised as someone to not have excuses, and I had that sort of hard expectation of myself my whole life. And you know, years later, I am really trying to make peace with that I am actually not that person that can do everything. I tried my best my whole life to project myself as someone that could, and I was pretty convincing at times, but it was so exhausting and tiring to keep putting on that awake face and to try and elicit some automatic behaviors. It's really tiresome to do that, and it worked against my symptoms, and I would pay for it. Every time I would try and sort of fake it, I would pay for it afterwards. Examples would be, if I tried to push through and seem awake and put on the awake face, afterwards I would be bedridden sometimes for the whole next day. The body's like, you didn't do what I wanted you to do, which was to sleep. So, I suffered for it. And I also developed sort of this anxiety around sleep because I was so used to trying to push through that when I have sleep attacks, I don't fall asleep now because my anxiety takes over. And it prolongs my sleep attacks. It makes me sleepier for longer. So, I've really had to fight against my inner desire to or to seem like a normal person, when actually this is the real me. So it's taken me a long time to accept myself because of it. It did have its advantages. I mean, I convincingly was able to hide my sleepiness, which was beneficial in some circumstances and situations, but for the most part, it's just made me suffer more, and trying to untrain that is really difficult. So that's one thing, you know, that we as people with narcolepsy struggle with, is really struggling with feeling comfortable enough to show our symptoms and to be sleepy. I know for me, I associated being sleepy with being rude. So I would fight myself all of the time because I was scared that I would come across as rude, moody, lazy. And it didn't do me any favors, unfortunately. So that is a big one. That's one that I see people talk about. And it's one I still struggle with. I'm getting better at it, and I'm hoping that it means that I will be able to, I guess, fall asleep more, but have some more wakefulness, because I will at least be able to fall asleep. And when I say wakefulness, I don't mean falling asleep and then being awake for the rest of the day, because that just doesn't happen for someone with narcolepsy. But it will mean that instead of being a zombie sitting there fighting sleep and it not happening for like 8 hours, I will be able to nap and maybe be awake for 15 minutes. And that 15 minutes is really, it's really useful. And, you know, that's something I'm wanting to achieve, which means that I need to accept myself, which means that ultimately I will need to not let other people's judgments and misunderstandings affect me. And that's really difficult. A lot of times it means isolating myself just so I can do the thing that I need to do. But, you know, socially that really sucks. And I hate to admit it, but it's really lonely. So, you know, getting to a place where I can accept myself enough to not care what everyone else thinks, so that I can at least be in public. And it means that I might be that thing that, you know, my brain thought I might be, which is that rude, lazy kind of person. But you know what? Who cares? Who cares? I know I have this thing, and I know it works, and I know that if I fight it too much, that I pay for it, and I'm tired of paying for it. Tired of paying for it. So, yeah, I think that's one thing that, you know, people with narcolepsy would want others to know. And another thing is the whole not being able to make events and commitments, and people being, I guess, more other people around this person being really frustrated with them. And that's understandable, but, you know, it's almost like a lot of people without narcolepsy will view missed calls. Another thing is, you know, we are so distracted with trying to manage our symptoms that a lot of times we won't reply to texts, and it's not because we don't care or we don't want to get back to you. It's just that, you know, this whole wave of sleepiness and interruptions in our day, a lot of times will take our focus away, and we will forget to, you know, make appointments and to reply to messages and attend that thing that you told us a week ago we should. A lot of times it's because on that day we've had really bad symptoms that we've had to manage, and it slipped our mind. And people take that personally, and we end up feeling like crap, and we beat ourselves up about it. So, yeah, I think I addressed some things that people with narcolepsy would really want others out there to know and others around them to know.